Coming up on this episode of Freedom from Fire, we'll look at what it takes to be safe on a road, discussing everything from distracted driving to basic traffic laws. Then later, we'll talk to someone who helps our firefighters stay safe and healthy. We got a lot to talk about, so stay tuned to Freedom from Fire. Hello, and welcome to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derek Sawyer. Here at Freedom from Fire, we bring you fire and life safety information and introduce you to our local safety partners. On today's episode, we're going to focus our attention on safe driving. To help us with that conversation, we'll first talk to our guest from Pennsylvania's Department of Transportation, Brad Rudolph. Brad is PennDOT's Safety Press Officer, and he's going to help us understand the dangers of distracted driving. Later in the program, we'll meet the officer responsible for keeping our firefighters and their families healthy, both physically and mentally. Battalion Chief Leroy Ruffin is the department's Employee Relations Officer, and he'll be along in our second half. But first, some driving statistics. So let's look at some national driving statistics. The latest study conducted by the U.S. Department of Transportation for the year of 2013 found the following information. In 1 year, 32,000 people died in traffic crashes. There were 4,700 pedestrian fatalities. And distracted driver crashes killed 3,100 people. Also, alcohol-impaired driving took 10,000 lives. That's 31% of the overall fatalities for that year. The good news, overall traffic fatalities were reduced in 34 states. And the state of Pennsylvania had 102 fewer fatalities. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, almost 90 people, on average, lose their lives each day. More than 250 people are injured every hour due to drunk driving, not wearing seat belts, and many other things associated with traffic crashes. Those are some staggering statistics. Last year in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Fire Department responded to 9,000 motor vehicle crashes. We transported 8,000 people to the hospital as a result of those crashes. The department also responded to 1,900 auto versus pedestrian accidents, meaning people that were hit by cars or trucks. And in those accidents, 1,900 people had to be taken to the hospital. Safely navigating through the city streets is something the Philadelphia Fire Department takes very seriously. Our student producer, Bethany Lowe, recently visited the Fire Academy to see how our fire service EMTs and firefighter cadets are trained in driving safely. Take a look.
Driving safety is so important for the drivers of the Philadelphia Fire Department. Drivers' training sessions are often held at the Philadelphia Fire Academy.
We start with an EVOC course, which is an emergency vehicle response course, and that's an 8-hour course. They get lectures, and then they do street time, which is the course you see right before us in front of you.
The first part is basically they're driving through to see the clearance on each side, to know the distance between, so there's no mirror-to-mirror contact. Some turns. They forward park into a parking spot, and then they back out of a parking spot. And the last part is a serpentine, both front and back, to show them, what distance is needed to get past obstacles. As far as driver training, they have a certain amount of time they have to get ride time in a truck. This course that we just went through is designed to help people that have never driven an ambulance before and reinforce skills of people that have driven ambulance. It doesn't depict the way the street is, but it's a good idea to see what we're dealing with before we get to the street and kind of break bad habits and reinforce some good habits so we don't have any problems on the street when they start driving. They do it with a preceptor. One of us goes in and we do actually on the street driving training to get them oriented with the city traffic and how to approach intersections and stuff like that to ensure the safety of everybody involved in the truck.
It's not only up to the drivers of the Philadelphia Fire Department to keep the roads safe.
Shouldn't be distracted while you're driving. You probably shouldn't. You should have your radio at a normal level volume so that you're able to hear an emergency vehicle. If you see an emergency vehicle on the street, you should yield, pull off to the side of the road, to the right usually, and wait till they proceed past you, and then you're allowed to proceed.
Thanks, Bethany. Remember, if you see an emergency vehicle with its lights on, please pull over to the right and let the vehicle pass. Every call we receive is important, and we want to get there as quickly and as safely as possible. And you never know. We may be responding to save one of your family members, so please pull over. Now, let's meet our first guest. Joining us today to discuss driver safety and awareness is PennDOT's Safety Press Officer, Brad Rudolph. Brad, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Commissioner.
Thanks for coming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your career and what you do for PennDOT.
My job is to promote, raise awareness about several traffic safety issues. A lot of them we'll talk about on this show, which include distracted driving, impaired driving, making sure people fasten their seatbelts, just some common sense rules of the road. And I try to go to older communities, schools for youngsters, teens, and just try to impart some experience, some tips, so they're well prepared when they're going on the roadway.
How long have you been working for PennDOT?
Going on 4 years now.
Okay, so you like it?
I like it a lot.
Great.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
So what is one of the leading causes of distracted driving?
Well, as you might guess, cell phones are a major distraction. Now, distracted driving can mean anything from grooming or eating, changing the radio,
Right.
talking with friends, but
Putting on makeup,
putting on makeup,
reading the paper.
Exactly. Those kind of things take your eyes off the road.
Right.
Cell phones are one of those things that we see a lot of. You see a lot of people on their phones and they're just not paying attention. Let me put it to you this way. If I told you before you're going to enter the vehicle that you were 23 times more likely to get into a crash if you use your cell phone, would you use it?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it. So I know it's a hard thing for younger kids to do, young drivers to do. They get those text messages, their adrenaline rushes, you
Right.
have that impulse to look at the phone. But I say put it away in the glove box. I mean, it can always wait.
That's
It
some
can
good
always wait.
advice.
23 times more likely
Wow.
to get into a crash.
So what age group is the largest or the most, the culprit of distracted driving? What age group would that be?
It would be that 18 to 24. 16 and 17, when they first get their license, they're well schooled. They've been over the laws before. They had to take the test. So they're a little bit more astute than maybe the 18, 19, 20-year-olds that have been
Right.
driving for a while. I think they have the hang of it. I think they're pros.
Right.
And they pull out those phones and they put on their music and they're just not paying attention to the roadway. When you're looking at your phone and you send a text while you're driving, you're basically looking away from the road for about 4.8 seconds, which, to put that in perspective, if you were driving 55 miles an hour,
Right.
it'd be like driving blind the length of a football field,
100 yards.
100 yards.
Wow.
Nobody can afford to do that.
Nah.
So many things can happen in that time frame.
Right.
It's just so important to just focus on driving.
I get nervous if I just blink.
Don't blink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we had to tell our parents or give our parents or the parents out there a couple of tips of how they can help their children drive safely, what would you tell them?
Well, first off, you want to lead by example. A child growing up, even before they even start driving, you can start there by teaching them the rules of the road by example. Proper signals, follow speed limits, buckle your seatbelt, don't text and drive. So it goes a long way, monkey see, monkey do kind of approach. Once they know the rules of the road, they get their learner's permit, you start off real slow. Go to a low traffic area, go to a parking lot, practice. You can't practice enough. And then you start putting them in situations, different kinds of situations, inclement weather,
Yep.
dark, early in the morning, just so you're comfortable with all types of situations of driving. This way there are no surprises. You want to expect the unexpected. So the more situations you're put in, the more likely you are to respond correctly. And then once they have their driver's license, it's a good idea to have a parent-teen driving contract. And a lot of insurance companies are on board with this.
Right.
And what it does is it sets some ground rules for your child. How many people they can have in their car, no texting and driving, obviously no drinking and driving, certain hours, curfews, those kind of things that, there are ramifications if your child breaks those rules. As a parent, you need to enforce some kind of consequences.
So if you can reduce your car insurance, that might be worth it.
It's possible, and a lot of insurance companies are starting to do that. They
Right.
want teens to drive safer. They think it's a parent's responsibility, which I do as well, to teach them, and it gets them both involved in the process. A parent knows their kid's maturity level,
Right.
their skill set. They can judge what's right and what's appropriate for their own child, and this helps them along that with a nice checklist.
Well, we talked about children and young adults, teens, safe driving. Let's look at the parents now. A lot of times, parents have to work long hours in today's economy to raise extra money, overtime, things like that. What should they do to make sure they're alert while they're driving? Like, how much sleep should they have?
Well, the average adult needs about 7-9 hours of sleep. That always doesn't work out. So you want to make sure, if you're driving long distances, if you're driving 100 miles, take a break. You can't fight drowsiness.
Right.
If your eyes are falling, they're falling.
That's right.
And nobody can afford to close their eyes and drive. It's just
That's
not
right.
going to work out well for anybody.
That's
for
even
anyone
worse than
around you.
texting, right? Falling asleep.
It's as bad. If you're closing your eyes and you nod off for 5 seconds, that's just like texting. But
Right.
nothing good can happen if you're tired. So the best thing to do is err on the side of caution, pull over, and get yourself awake.
So we're coming up on the summer months, which means long trips to the shore or visiting relatives that are far distances away,
Sure.
Disneyland, things like that. When you're taking those long trips, what's the recommended driving length? How long should we stay on the road before we take a break?
The recommendation is 100 miles or every 2 hours.
Wow.
Now, if you have kids in the car, you might be stopping even more than that. The goal is to get there safely. You can't take enough breaks. If you have to take more breaks, then you take more breaks. Whatever you need to do to be able to focus on the road. A lot of times you have other people depending on you in that vehicle.
That's right.
And you're sharing the road with other people.
Especially
so
family trips.
yes.
So
Better safe than sorry. So 100 miles, 2 hours is a good barometer right there.
One of the things I've noticed in the city is that there are a lot of bicycle lanes. People are trying to save money because of the price of gas, the increased price of gas, and they're riding their bikes to work, especially in the summer months. And we have a ton of bicycle lanes. What are your suggestions for driving safely with people that are using their bikes?
Sure. In 2012, we came up with a 4-foot rule, which is, motorists should keep that 4-foot distance between themselves and the bicyclists. They have rules of the road as well, so they're not free and clear to do whatever they want. They have to follow the traffic signals as well. But you should keep a 4-foot pad, and if that means crossing a double center line safely to do so, then we recommend actually leaving the travel lane to give them the cushion, because they are the most vulnerable. Now, if you can't pass and use those center lanes, then you should wait for the bicyclist to go.
Right.
And of course, don't turn in front of a bicyclist. They're just very vulnerable. They're not as protected as you. And you should definitely err on the side of caution when driving near them.
Yeah, last summer I was in traffic and a cab stopped to let someone out of their car, and the person was riding their bike and they opened the door and bam.
Yeah. And, that's both parties' fault.
Right.
The bicyclist has to keep an eye out as well.
Exactly.
They're not immune from any kind of traffic safety laws. They have to keep an eye out on things, and sometimes cabs pull over or buses
Right.
pull over,
That's
and you have to watch out for those things. So I wasn't there. I didn't get to see what happened, but it's not necessarily the person who opens the door's fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, those were some great safety tips. I appreciate you joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
coming out. It's time for us to take a quick break. But before we do, let's see if you know the rules for driving safely on the street. Our street team took a look at LaSalle's campus to quiz people on basic driving questions. See how they did. And when we come back, we'll talk with a member of the Philadelphia Fire Department about how he tries to keep the firefighters healthy. Stay with us.
Your Man on the Street correspondents are back here outside to talk to you about one of your favorite springtime activities. So roll down those windows and stay tuned for some driving safety tips. So when is the greatest risk of falling asleep behind the wheel? Is it between 12 and 6 and 2 and 4, those are a combination, between 7 and 9 a.m., or after a large lunch?
Ooh, I'm gonna say after a large lunch.
After a large lunch?
That's close. That's actually a very common answer. So the correct answer is between midnight or 12 a.m. and 6 a.m., including 2 to 4 p.m. But I think that we came up with a rule that if you're eating lunch, just take like a half an hour just to chill, walk around, and then start driving. Because a lot of people say they get tired after a large lunch too.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea you brought up.
Okay.
What would you suggest to help people stay awake?
Coffee, definitely. And if you can't stay awake, pull over.
If someone is aggressively tailgating you, you should drive faster to get rid of them, swear at them, or maintain a speed that you're comfortable with and keep left.
I'm gonna maintain the speed and keep left.
Your speed, I feel like.
Yeah, I always maintain my speed or move to the next lane so they could pass me.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. That's the safest thing you can do, even if the other
Not
two
me.
ones are tempting.
Are you from Pennsylvania, by the way?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
awesome. So this one, maybe you'll know. I didn't know it, but I'm not from here. That's my excuse. What is the highest speed limit in Pennsylvania?
Ooh, 60?
Do you know?
I think it's 70.
65.
Close. Do you have a
70.
guess?
Like 65, 70?
Yeah, it's 70 miles per hour. Do you think that that's too fast, too slow, just right?
Probably too fast, depending on the road.
It's actually
Oh,
70.
I never actually saw a 70.
Yeah, I haven't either, but apparently that's the highest you can go.
What does MADD stand for, and what's its mission?
Okay, Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yes.
And I guess to promote, not driving when you're under the influence.
It's Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yep, absolutely. Do you know what they do or what they're...
It's mothers that I think it started as a group of mothers that were angry because there was no law or justice for victims of drunk driving.
Oh, actually, fun fact, there's dads who are in MAD as well.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
pretty cool.
I like that.
You have to wear a seatbelt when you're riding in the rear seat of a passenger vehicle, 25 years of age or older, or a passenger in a vehicle which was never equipped with a real seatbelt.
None.
I feel like none of the above.
I feel like this is a trick question. You always should wear your seatbelt.
Yeah, I feel like that is too.
That's what everyone's been saying. However, it's actually
Is the
a
last one?
passenger in a vehicle that was never equipped with a seatbelt.
Yeah, so if they don't have a seatbelt, they
Oh.
can't use it.
Yeah. In old-time cars,
Oh, okay.
it's not usually equipped with a seatbelt in the back, and people try to make their own to make it safe, but that makes it less safe because they don't know what's supposed to stop you from going forward.
So
and
can they
stuff
get
like
a
that.
ticket if they don't click it because they don't have something to click?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Thoughts on what I've been thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to investigate.
If you are under 21, you are considered under the influence if your blood alcohol concentration or BAC level is how high?
0.08, 0.1, 0.05, or 0.02.
I'm going to go with 0.08.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're under 21,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 0.1.
Ooh, 0.02.
It's actually 0.08.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 0.02 has been a popular answer,
Right.
but I think it's because it's under 21.
You guys are the first people to get that question right, which means you're safe.
Driver's ed.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, no drunk driving though, right? Always stay away. Get
Uber,
a cab.
yes.
Get an Uber, whatever you need to do. Thanks, guys.
Thank
No problem.
you.
Appreciate it.
I'm a writing center tutor, and I know more.
I'm an athlete, and I know more.
I'm a professor, and I know more.
I'm in Greek life, and I know more.
I'm an RA, and I know more.
If you see someone who may be at risk of sexual assault, step up and keep them safe. For more information about sexual assault and what you can do to prevent it, visit knowmore.org. Show your support by speaking out against sexual assault by using the Know More hashtag on social media.
Cyberbullying comes in many forms and can happen 24/7. If you or someone you know is a victim of cyberbullying, take preventative and assertive action. Keep evidence and document all instances. Remember to record dates, times, descriptions, and also save and print screenshots. Block your cyberbully and present your evidence to school officials or law enforcement. No one deserves to be a victim of cyberbullying, and together we can end it. For more information, visit stopbullying.com.
Welcome back to Freedom from Fire. I'm your host, Fire Commissioner Derek Sawyer. On this show, we spend a lot of time showing you how to be safe and live a healthy life in the fire department. We often have to remind our members that they need to be safe and healthy. Joining us now to talk about the health and wellness of firefighters and their families is Battalion Chief Leroy Ruffin, the Employees Relations Officer of the Philadelphia Fire Department. Welcome to Freedom from Fire.
Welcome, and thank you for having me, Commissioner.
How you been?
I've been good.
Yeah?
Yes, I have.
So tell me a little bit about your career.
Well, Commissioner, I've had a 30-year career, a very illustrious career, I would say.
30 years?
30 years.
Wow.
I came on back in the good administration in 1985. Matter of fact, this month, 30 years ago.
Okay, same month.
Same month, same month. 30 years ago this month, and I had the distinct pleasure of being in the class with the first female firefighter.
Wow.
And her name was Paulette Kennedy.
Nice.
Ain't that something?
That's
so
a
30
first.
years, the department had a female in the fire department.
Nice.
All right. And what I did was I was assigned to the hazmat unit down at Engine 60, and I spent 9 years there. From there, I transferred to Engine 44, and from there, I got promoted. Went to Ben Franklin's first fire department, first fire station, Square 8. So I spent 2 tours as a lieutenant, one at Square 8, one at Ladder 4, and then I got promoted to captain.
Wow.
Moved up from there, went to Engine 50 and Ladder 25, then made battalion chief, and spent the time at Battalion 2. Then the next thing you know, you gave me the call, and I'm down here doing your Employee Relations Officer Day.
Employee Relations Officer.
Yes.
What does that mean? What does the Employee Relations Officer do?
Well, what I do is, first off, I oversee various programs and events for the department. But most of all, I make sure the members' health and safety and well-being stay intact.
So why is that important?
Because this is a very stressful job. It's a very dangerous job.
Right.
People are always being stressed out, having anxiety attacks for various reasons, because this is very dangerous.
Right.
So they come to see me, and I oversee the employee relations program.
The Employees Assistance Program.
I'm sorry, the Employee Assistance Program.
So what's that about?
The Employee Assistance Program is a free, confidential program designed to help the members and their families navigate through the day-to-day activities of their life, whether it be depression, whether it be stress, whether it be a gambling problem, whether it be substance abuse. We cover a vast array of different things. And what we have there, we have a psychologist that we refer you to, or a psychiatrist that we refer you to. We're staffed with 4 counselors that are certified, and these counselors, they will assess you and see what they can do to help you through your problems.
All right, you're a battalion chief, right?
Yes.
I know you have more than one program that you manage. What are some of the other programs that you manage?
Absolutely. We have, right now, we have our current program is the Battle of the Badges that's going on right now between the police and the firefighters.
And the fire department has won how many years?
The fire department has won 15 years, the last 2 to be exact.
All right.
And we're shooting for a 3rd year this time.
Right, right.
And this program is in its 29th year.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens in this is a competition, friendly competition for weight loss between the police and the fire department. And what it is for a good cause. The winner, whichever one it is, gets $10,000 donated to the scholarship fund.
Right. So what's the scholarship fund?
The scholarship fund is for,
I think it's children of...
The children of fallen firefighters or
police.
Firefighters seriously
Right.
injured in the line of duty.
Or police.
Or police.
So that's one of our joint efforts.
That's a joint effort. Yes, it is, Commissioner.
How do you normally communicate with the members of the department to make sure they know about this nice program that you have?
Well, what we do is we have a newsletter that goes out quarterly. And we also, and in that newsletter, it tells the employees what we offer them.
Okay.
The different things that the Employee Assistance Program can offer.
Great.
We also get out and go to stations on a regular basis and keep them informed. Let them know that we're out there for them and their families in case they have any problems. They can come, sit down and talk to us, and it's all confidential.
Right. So I want you to know, I think you've been doing a great job.
Good. I appreciate that.
I want to thank you for joining us today. But before we go, I have one favor to ask.
What's that?
Join me in taking the fire safety pledge.
Sure.
All right, let's get those right hands up. Ready?
Okay.
All right. I love my family.
I love my family.
And I am responsible for their safety. Therefore, I pledge the following. I pledge to have at least one working smoke alarm on each level of my home. I pledge to test my alarms as recommended and replace my alarms with new lithium battery powered alarms when needed. I pledge that every family member will sleep with their bedroom door closed. I pledge to develop and practice a home escape plan. I pledge that if I cannot afford smoke alarms, I will call the non-emergency number 311 or visit www.phila.gov/311. All of this I do solemnly pledge. Thank you very much. Upcoming events. Before the show comes to an end, let's take a look at some of these events. On Saturday, April 11th, you can listen to my radio show, Let's Talk Safety, on WURD 900 AM at 3 p.m., where I continue to discuss contemporary public safety issues, and we have a nice 16-year-old joining us. On April 16th, 2015, I will be awarding the 2015 Distinguished Service Award to Nashia Roper from the Fire Communications Center. The ceremony will be held at the Fire Administration Building at 10 a.m., 240 Spring Garden Street. Come out and join us. As we close out the show, I'd like to remind you about how you can learn more about our program. If you would like to find out more about LaSalle TV, you can check out its social media sites. You can watch past episodes of this show by going to the Freedom from Fire playlist on YouTube. And if you are interested in learning about Philadelphia Fire Department, visit our Facebook, Twitter, and web pages. I would also like to once again thank Brad Rudolph and Battalion Chief Leroy Ruffin for joining us today. I also would like to thank you for tuning in and watching. So, until next time, remember, fire is everyone's fight. Stay safe and remain free from fire.